Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to cut through the noise, basically delivering the most impactful insights from the knowledge you need. Today, we're embarking on a really fascinating deep dive. The topic is mastering productivity and English communication. And we're drawing from a very comprehensive video transcript. It offers quite a robust blueprint for success, actually. We're not just skimming the surface here, no. We're going to properly dig into 4 foundational pillars. These are crucial for anyone aiming to excel, really, whether you're in academia, climbing the corporate ladder, or maybe just working on personal growth. So we'll explore effective time management, strategic networking, some proven methods to boost your English fluency, and also how to wield advanced vocabulary for truly nuanced and powerful communication. Get ready to uncover some practical strategies you can apply, like straight away.
That's exactly right. That's our mission for this deep dive. We want to distill the most critical knowledge, the most actionable strategies, helping you integrate these insights and quickly into your daily life. We're looking beyond just isolated tips. It's more about exploring how these approaches, they interlock. They create a kind of holistic foundation, one that empowers you to significantly enhance both your language proficiency and your overall personal effectiveness. It really is about understanding the synergy between these different skills.
Okay, let's unpack the first big idea then, time management. Specifically for students, the video transcript calls it a superpower, which, I can see why. It's that skill that fundamentally lets you achieve your goals faster. But not by, burning the midnight oil. It's genuinely about working smarter, not harder, that phrase. But let's be honest, for many people, time management feels more like a constant battle than a superpower. What do you think is the biggest misconception, maybe, or the main hurdle people face when they try to use these tools?
That's a really key question. I think the biggest misconception is that time management just means cramming more stuff into your day. But what our source material highlights is it's actually a strategic choice, a deliberate decision to be efficient, intentional with your time. It's about gaining clarity. And to get there, it introduces some really practical tools, things like color-coded schedules. Those are fantastic for just visualizing your commitments, seeing where your time actually goes. Then you've got time blocking, which isn't just about setting aside time. It's about protecting those blocks from interruptions, treating them like, non-negotiable appointments with yourself.
Like real appointments.
Exactly. And then there's the Eisenhower matrix.
Ah, yes, the urgent, important grid.
Precisely. And it's more than just a basic prioritization tool. It can be a real game changer for reclaiming your focus. It helps you sort tasks into those 4 quadrants. Urgent and important, the stuff you must do now, often crises. Important and not urgent, this is crucial for long-term goals. Think project planning, skill development, needs proactive scheduling.
Yep.
Then urgent and not important things you should try to delegate or just minimize. And finally, neither urgent nor important stuff to, frankly, eliminate. It forces you to consciously shift from just reacting to urgent stuff, to proactively investing time in what truly matters for you. For students, this might mean actively scheduling deep work on that big research paper before it becomes an urgent, stressful crisis.
Right, avoiding the last-minute panic.
Exactly, which leads to much better outcomes and definitely less stress.
That shift from reactive to proactive, I think that's where so many of us, we stumble, especially with the constant buzz of digital distractions. The transcript talks about building fortresses of concentration. It sounds vital, definitely. But in our always-on world, how do students, maybe those in busy dorms or shared flats, how do they realistically build these fortresses? Is it more about mental discipline, you think? Or can physical strategies actually make a big difference?
Oh, it's absolutely a blend of both. The source makes a strong case for integrating the two. Mental and physical strategies. Sure, tools like noise-canceling headphones are a good start, but the real fortress, if you like, is built in your mind by consciously setting boundaries, practicing mindfulness.
Okay.
The video really emphasizes understanding why digital detoxes work beyond just taking back control. It's about fighting cognitive overload and something called attention residue.
Attention residue, what's that?
It's that sort of lingering focus on a previous task, like maybe glancing at a notification you just got. Even that quick check drains your mental energy for the main task. It fragments your focus.
Ah, I see, the hidden cost.
Exactly. So practical steps include having dedicated, quiet study spaces, even if it's just a specific corner of a room, and implementing things like app limits or even digital Sabbaths where you totally disconnect for set periods. It helps train your brain to focus better and cuts down on decision fatigue too.
That attention residue idea is powerful. It really shows the hidden cost of all those constant pings and notifications. And speaking of mental hurdles, procrastination is, well, it's another giant, isn't it? We all face it.
Right.
What does the source offer to help us overcome that inertia, that feeling of just not wanting to start?
Two really powerful techniques are highlighted. First, the eat that frog method. Comes from Mark Twain, apparently.
Eat the frog. Sounds unpleasant.
Huh. Well, the idea isn't just about raw discipline. It's about leveraging your peak cognitive energy. See, most people have their best focus, their highest willpower, usually in the morning. So by tackling your most dreaded, your most difficult task first thing, you're not only getting it done while you're freshest, but you also free up mental space for the rest of the day. That task isn't looming over you.
Right, get it out of the way.
Exactly. And the source even suggests trying it for just, say, 20 or 30 minutes if the whole task feels too big. Even that small win can build incredible momentum.
Okay, that makes sense. And the second technique?
The second is the power of task chunking. So breaking down large, intimidating assignments into smaller, much more manageable steps. And crucially, setting mini deadlines for each chunk.
Mini deadlines. Okay.
This drastically reduces that feeling of overwhelm. It turns what looks like an insurmountable mountain into just a series of achievable hills. You build psychological momentum step by step.
Those are really concrete, actionable strategies.
Good.
And it's not all about just relentlessly pushing harder, is it? The video also carves out important space for the absolute necessity of balance, flexibility, and downtime. We often see these as, I don't know, luxuries, but the source suggests they're actually foundational. Why are they so critical?
Oh, they are far from luxuries. They're essential for any kind of long-term success, especially for sustained cognitive performance and definitely for language acquisition. The material really stresses that burnout is a genuine threat. It undermines productivity, mental clarity, everything. So incorporating things like good sleep hygiene, for example, that isn't just about rest. It's vital for memory consolidation, which is absolutely paramount for learning and retaining new vocabulary, new grammar.
Right, for language learning especially.
Absolutely. And building consistent routines helps cut down decision fatigue, frees up mental bandwidth. Learning to set boundaries, confidently saying no sometimes protects your energy and focus. Intentionally adding buffer time into your schedule means you can absorb unexpected problems without getting totally stressed out.
That buffer time is key. Things always take longer.
They always do. And finally, embracing imperfection. It's about cultivating a growth mindset that's incredibly empowering, particularly when you're learning a language where, let's face it, mistakes are just part of the process. So these aren't just soft skills, they're really critical parts of a resilient, effective mindset.
It's definitely clear that managing your sort of internal world creates that solid foundation. But okay, once you've maybe harnessed your personal productivity a bit better, the next challenge is often connecting effectively with other people, particularly in, say, a professional English setting. Which brings us neatly to the crucial skill of networking. And this, for many people, especially non-native English speakers, I imagine, can feel incredibly daunting.
It really can. And that's where authenticity and preparation become your greatest allies. The source emphasizes that successful networking. It's built on those two pillars. For the preparation side, it advises doing thorough event research. Know who the key speakers are, maybe look up potential attendees on LinkedIn, understand their companies or interests.
Doing your homework.
Exactly. This lets you tailor your elevator pitch, make it concise, but not just what you do, maybe why you do it, what value you offer. That helps it resonate with whoever you're talking to. And then there's employing confident body language. That's so important.
Nonverbal cues.
Yes. Making appropriate eye contact, having an open posture, being mindful of cultural nuances too. It projects professionalism, approachability, even before you said a word.
Those are solid fundamentals, definitely.
Yeah.
But what about maybe the less obvious bits? Like, how do you manage that internal pressure? The self-doubt that often creeps in with networking, especially if you're already feeling a bit stressed about the language barrier. And then, okay, you start a conversation. How do you keep it going so it doesn't just fizzle out awkwardly?
Right. Managing those internal anxieties. Often it comes down to shifting your focus onto the other person, which leads us straight into the crucial role of small talk.
Small talk. Love it or hate it.
Well, the video describes it not just as idle chatter, but as a strategic bridge, a bridge to deeper, more meaningful conversations. The key is combining it with active listening, like really hearing and understanding what the other person is saying and asking thoughtful, open-ended questions.
Not just closed questions.
Exactly. Instead of just, what do you do? Well, maybe try something like, what's been the most interesting project you've worked on recently? Or what did you learn from that? It shows genuine engagement, respect. And to keep that conversation flowing, look for shared interests or connection points that came up during the small talk. Then you can gently pivot towards more substantive topics.
Okay, so listen for hooks.
Precisely. And remember, the interaction doesn't stop when you walk away from the event. Personalized follow-up messages are absolutely essential. That's how you turn fleeting encounters into potentially meaningful professional relationships.
Right, not just a generic connection request.
No, definitely not. It should be a message that references a specific point you discussed, thanks them for their time, and maybe suggests a concrete next step, like sharing a relevant article or offering to connect them with someone. It's about nurturing that connection, not just, collecting contacts like trading cards.
Good point. And quickly, how do you gracefully exit a conversation? Sometimes that's awkward too.
Yeah, good question. Express your gratitude for their time, maybe mention another person you were hoping to catch, or just offer a polite, "It was a real pleasure speaking with you. I look forward to connecting soon." Keep it positive and clear.
Okay, useful tips there. So once you've worked in your focus, you're building these connections. The key to really walking through those doors with confidence often lies in how well you communicate in English. So what does all this mean for gaining genuine fluency and confidence in English specifically?
The source brings up a really practical, quite engaging concept, practicing with 100 diverse daily English conversation topics.
Precisely. And this isn't just about rote learning or memorizing phrases. It's about actively putting the language into dynamic action across a whole spectrum of real-life scenarios. The source details a pretty structured approach. It moves from, say, mundane daily activities like discussing your morning coffee routine to sharing personal experiences like a memorable trip you took, then into professional scenarios talking about career goals, for instance, engaging in cultural discussions about traditions or current events, and even tackling fun, sort of hypothetical questions like, if you had a superpower, what would it be?
Okay. So a real mix.
A real mix. And the power is truly in that range, in that deliberate exposure to different contexts. Because by engaging with such a wide array of subjects, you're naturally pushed to use varied tenses, to expand your vocabulary beyond the everyday basics, and deploy different expressions that are appropriate for each situation.
Makes sense.
This allows you to communicate more authentically, develop a more flexible command of English, and crucially build cultural competence, which is just so vital in today's interconnected world.
How do you make that practice really effective, though? Just chatting isn't always enough, is it?
Good point. To make it truly effective, you could maybe record yourself speaking. Listen back for areas to improve. Or find a conversation partner, obviously, someone to practice with regularly. You could even focus on consciously integrating specific grammar points or new vocabulary words with each topic you discuss. That transforms simple conversation into a really powerful dynamic learning tool.
That structured practice sounds key for building confidence.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But then how do we elevate that communication? How do we move beyond just, everyday words to add real precision, impact, persuasiveness? We're talking now about advanced English vocabulary for truly nuanced communication. This feels like where you really start to distinguish yourself, express complex ideas with, clarity.
Absolutely. And the source highlights that advanced vocabulary isn't about using big words just to show off. It's about acquiring precise tools for expressing your ideas accurately. It's about choosing the right word to convey the exact meaning you intend, adding depth, adding sophistication.
Can you give some examples?
Sure. Like when you're articulating opinions, instead of just saying they explained it well, you might say she articulated her position with great clarity, or his presentation was incredibly eloquent. See how eloquent implies a certain grace and persuasiveness in the way they spoke?
Yeah, it adds another layer.
Exactly. Or for describing personalities. Rather than just saying someone is friendly, you could perhaps say they're gregarious, which suggests they're notably sociable, really outgoing. For someone who's very practical, realistic, the word pragmatic captures that nuance much more effectively than just practical.
Okay.
In academic and professional settings, certain terms become almost indispensable, like paradigm, which refers to a sort of fundamental framework or model of understanding in a field.
Right, like a paradigm shift.
Exactly. Or extrapolate, which means inferring unknown things from known facts, often used with data or trends. You wouldn't just say, we can guess what happens next based on this data. You'd sound more rigorous, saying, by extrapolating from these trends, we can anticipate future market shifts. It conveys an evidence-based approach.
Adds credibility.
It does, even for expressing emotions. Instead of just happy or sad, you can convey more specific shades of feeling. Words like exuberant for intense, joyful enthusiasm, or melancholy for a kind of pensive, maybe even bittersweet sadness.
That precise feeling.
Yes. And if you find yourself in debates or critical discussions, understanding terms like rebuttal, meaning a counter-argument, or fallacy, meaning a mistaken belief or a flaw in logic, gives you a significant intellectual advantage. Ultimately, mastery of this kind of vocabulary supports clearer expression, much more powerful argumentation, and just deeper, more meaningful engagement in all sorts of contexts.
How do you actually learn and integrate these words, though? It's not just about lists, is it?
Oh, definitely not just lists. To truly integrate them, you need to practice using them in context. Maybe through journaling, trying to weave them into your writing, using flashcards but with example sentences, not just definitions, and actively looking for opportunities to use them when you speak or write. Context is everything.
Okay, that makes sense. This has been a really incredible deep dive, actually, journeying through these 4 pillars: time management, networking, conversation skills, and that advanced vocabulary. Looking back across all of it, what really stands out is this consistent emphasis in the source material on active practice, on conscious reflection, maintaining balance, and also leveraging community support. It's really clear these aren't just isolated tips scattered around. They feel like interconnected threads, creating a powerful system for sustained growth.
That's a really powerful observation, I agree. And it does raise an important question, doesn't it? Which is, how do we make sure this whole journey, mastering language, personal success, how do we ensure it's sustainable over the long haul?
Yeah, sustainability is key.
Exactly. And the video revisits the critical role of self-care here, presenting it not as some kind of luxury add-on, but as a strategic imperative, a necessity. This means things like prioritizing good sleep hygiene, really understanding that quality sleep is directly linked to memory consolidation, which, as we said, is absolutely crucial for language learning and just general cognitive function.
Can't learn much when you're exhausted.
Precisely. It's also about building those consistent routines we talked about. They create mental space, reduce decision fatigue, letting you allocate your precious energy more effectively. It also involves learning to set boundaries, being able to confidently say no sometimes to commitments that just don't align with your core goals. That protects your valuable time and your focus.
Learning to say no is hard, but important.
Very. And incorporating that buffer time into schedules ensures you can absorb unexpected hiccups without derailing completely, keeping stress levels manageable. And finally, circling back to embracing imperfection. Cultivating that growth mindset, understanding that mistakes aren't failures, they're integral parts of the learning process, especially with something like language acquisition.
Right.
These strategies aren't just about preventing burnout, though they do that too. They actively cultivate the mental clarity, the resilience you need to truly thrive and make lasting progress.
What an incredible deep dive this has been. We've really journeyed through the superpowers of strategic time management, learned how to build those meaningful connections through astute networking, explored a practical path to English fluency with those diverse conversation topics, and discovered the precision and the real impact that advanced vocabulary can bring to your communication. It's so clear now how these pillars don't just stand alone. They interlink, don't they? Creating this powerful synergistic system for your growth and development.
Absolutely. And as you, our listener, reflect on all of this, maybe here's a final provocative thought to consider. Think about how consciously integrating downtime and digital detox into your routine isn't just about rest or avoiding distraction. Consider that it might be about actively cultivating the essential mental space needed for deeper linguistic processing, allowing new words, new grammar structures to really settle in and consolidate more effectively. And maybe, just maybe, it's also about fostering truly innovative problem solving in all areas of your life, recognizing that sometimes stepping away strategically can actually be the most productive move you make.
You know, that feeling when you're just swimming in information, picking up new skills, but it still feels like you're just scratching the surface.
Like true mastery is somehow just out of reach.
Yeah, exactly. That sense that there's a deeper understanding you're not quite getting to. We've definitely all been there.
We have.
So today we're doing a deep dive into something really transformative. We're looking at how mastering language and personal growth, they aren't separate things.
Not at all.
They're actually deeply connected. They form this kind of, holistic toolkit for success.
Right.
And it's not just about learning skills. It's more fundamental. It's about a real shift in perspective and how you interact with everything.
Precisely. And for our journey today, we're drawing on some fascinating excerpts from Mastering Language and Life, a holistic toolkit.
Okay.
And this isn't some dry textbook, you know? It's actually quite insightful. It weaves together practical wisdom, how to really master language, and these powerful mindset strategies.
Sounds compelling.
It is. As we explore it, you'll start to see how you can shift your view. Like seeing time not as an enemy that's always running out.
Which is how it usually feels.
Right. But seeing it as an ally, something abundant, and turning simple conversations into real opportunities for connection.
Okay.
Recognizing your vocabulary isn't just words, it's a tool for influence. And crucially, understanding that balance isn't optional. It's the absolute foundation for success that lasts.
Okay, so our mission then, for you listening, is to really pull out the most powerful bits from this toolkit. We want to help you turn that everyday stress into real clarity, maybe transform awkward silences into moments of opportunity, and channel your ambitions so it leads to longevity, not burnout. This is about real growth.
Okay.
Let's unpack this. Right, let's kick things off with something that honestly feels like a battle for most of us.
Time.
Always time. Yeah, we usually think about managing time as just, ticking boxes off a list that never ends. Right?
The dreaded to-do list.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But these sources, they introduce a much deeper idea. Time isn't just about tasks. It's about making intentional choices.
Intentionality, yes.
And seeing time as an investment. Every hour, every minute you allocate, it's an investment in your future self and the results you want.
That's a powerful frame.
It really makes you stop and ask, how do you actually view your time? Is it just this thing that runs out, something you spend? Or is it an asset you strategically invest?
And what's really illuminating is how the source goes deeper into time mastery. It's not just scheduling.
Right, not just calendars.
No. It explains that strategies like time blocking, they're not about creating these super rigid schedules that, frankly, kill spontaneity.
Which is often the worry.
Exactly. It's actually about protecting focus windows, carving out that sacred, uninterrupted space for the deep work that matters, like building a fortress around your focus.
I like that analogy. A fortress.
And connecting this to the bigger picture, the material brings in that hidden truth from the Eisenhower matrix.
Urgent versus important. Many people know it.
Right. For those who don't, it basically splits tasks into 4 boxes. Urgent and important. Not urgent and important. Urgent and not important. And not urgent and not important.
Okay.
The hidden truth. So much of what feels urgent day to day, constant emails, some meetings, reacting to small things.
The noise.
That often falls into urgent but not important. And if you can consciously minimize those, you free up so much energy for the not urgent but important stuff. That's where the real progress happens.
That's the strategic work.
It's the difference between being reactive and being truly strategic.
Yeah, that distinction is huge.
Yeah.
And it leads right into a really practical point. Learning to say no gracefully.
Which is hard.
So hard. We often feel like it's rejecting someone, right? But the toolkit frames it as alignment with your bigger yes.
Ooh, I like that. Alignment with your yes.
Yes. You're choosing to invest your time, that asset, in what actually moves you towards your goals, your values. The toolkit even suggests doing a time audit. Like, track your hours for a week, really see where they go, and then assign a sort of return on investment to activities.
Wow, okay. That could be revealing.
It's not about feeling guilty. It's about finding the leaks, So you can consciously choose differently. It reframes productivity away from this frantic stress race.
Which it often feels like.
And turns it into a strategic art form. Like you're thoughtfully shaping your life, choosing your tools carefully. But what's a common hurdle people hit when they try to master time like this?
That's a really good question. I think a big one is the psychological shift. We're almost conditioned to be busy, to react.
Right. Busy equals productive, supposedly.
Exactly. And saying no can feel like you're missing out or letting people down. The toolkit emphasizes it's not about avoiding work. It's about prioritizing impact.
Impact over sheer activity.
Precisely. Another thing is underestimating small, consistent steps. People trying to overhaul everything overnight get totally overwhelmed.
And then give up.
But the real power is in that incremental, mindful investment. It builds momentum, like a compound interest for your time.
Compound interest for your time. I love that. And this idea of intentional investment, it doesn't just stop at our calendars, does it?
No, it flows right into how we connect with others.
Right. Which brings us to networking, something that, let's be honest, many people find really intimidating.
Definitely. That image of forced smiles, awkward small talk.
Exchanging cards you never look at again?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the sources seem to completely flip this idea.
They do. They position it not as collecting contacts, but as exchanging value through humanity.
Okay, value through humanity. What does that mean practically?
It means building communities of trust, focusing on genuine connections, built on authentic stories and real curiosity about the other person.
That sounds much less daunting, more human.
It is, but authentic can feel a bit fuzzy, right? So the material gives concrete examples, like transforming your elevator pitch. The dreaded pitch.
Yeah, from just stating your job title into a compelling story, not just what you do, but who you are, what you value, how you think you can contribute.
Give me an example.
Okay, so instead of just, I'm a marketing manager, maybe something like, I love helping tech startups find their voice, and I'm really fascinated by how great stories can make complex ideas accessible. See the difference?
Yeah, that immediately invites a real conversation, not just a nod.
Exactly. And then there's small talk as strategy. It's not about the weather, it's about finding connection points.
Yeah, so strategic questions.
Open-ended questions like, what first drew you to this field? Or what's a challenge you've tackled recently that taught you something important? Or even, what project are you excited about right now?
Questions that open doors.
Right. It turns potential awkwardness into an opportunity to find shared interests, shared values. You're exchanging humanity, not just data points.
Okay, I love that shift. Performing versus connecting. But what about keeping those connections going? That initial spark often just fizzles out.
Yeah, the follow-up is key. This is where the idea of follow-up as loyalty comes in.
Loyalty. Interesting term.
It means sending a personal message afterward, but not just a generic, nice meeting you.
Okay, what makes it personal?
You remember the person, not just their title. Reference something specific you talked about, a shared interest, an insight they offered, maybe a book they mentioned.
Showing you actually listened.
Exactly. Maybe you offer a helpful resource related to your chat, or just mention a point that really stuck with you. It's thoughtful. It's tailored.
And that builds trust.
That's how you genuinely build trust and turn an acquaintance into part of your community. It shows you value them as an individual.
That's a subtle but really powerful shift. Okay, building on connection, let's talk about conversations themselves. We think fluency is just grammar and vocab.
The technical bits.
But real fluency, the kind that builds confidence, it comes from variety, adaptability.
Being able to handle different situations. Right. And the sources have this brilliant idea, engaging with 100+ conversation themes as social training grounds.
Ooh, okay. Training grounds.
Yeah, it's not rote learning. It's about deliberately building that adaptability for, real life surprises, whether you're in a boardroom or just grabbing coffee.
So what kind of themes are we talking about? How does this actually work?
Well, that's where it gets interesting.
What's fascinating is how these varied prompts help you learn to flex between registers, casual, professional, academic, more easily.
Right, how you talk to your boss versus your friend.
Exactly. The themes are super broad. You might have hypotheticals like, if you could invent one thing to solve a world problem, what would it be?
Okay, that's creative.
It sparks creativity, pushes you beyond pre-planned answers, forces you to structure complex thoughts. Then there are cultural discussions.
Like what?
Exploring different views on, say, work-life balance across cultures or definitions of success. This builds huge empathy.
And shows language is about worldviews, not just words.
Precisely. It deepens understanding. You might also discuss ethical dilemmas, future tech predictions, personal growth, travel. The sheer variety builds mental agility.
So it's like building language muscle memory.
Yeah.
So you can adapt intuitively.
Exactly. You're not just practicing words in isolation.
You're transforming fluency into this living, adaptable skill. So you can walk into any room, any situation, and feel genuinely confident.
That's the goal. Unscripted confidence.
Okay, let's shift now to the words themselves. Vocabulary, not just decoration.
Not just sounding smart.
Right, but as precision tools.
Yeah.
Have you ever really thought about how one carefully chosen word can completely change the meaning, the tone, the persuasive power?
Oh, absolutely. The sources give great examples. Think about eloquent versus articulate.
Okay, similar meaning.
Similar, but different flavor. Eloquent often suggests more emotional power, maybe even poetry in the speech. It stirs you.
Right.
Articulate leans more towards clear, logical, well-structured expression. It makes sense. Choosing one over the other shifts the whole perception.
From heart to head, almost.
Kind of. And then there are academic terms like extrapolate, paradigm, juxtapose. The toolkit lists these not as jargon, but as tools to convey intellectual authority.
So using paradigm shift isn't just fancy talk.
No, it signals a deep, fundamental change, not just a minor tweak. These words show you're engaging deeply with ideas.
And it's not just academic words, right? Emotional language, too.
Definitely. Words like exuberant or melancholy, they deepen personal stories massively. Saying a journey was difficult is one thing. Saying it was an arduous ascent marked by exuberant highs and moments of melancholy reflection.
Pulls the listener right in. You feel it.
Exactly. The sources also mention debate-ready words.
Like what? Examples.
Rebuttal, fallacy, dichotomy, premise. Learning these isn't just about vocabulary points, it arms you with critical reasoning skills.
So you can analyze arguments better.
And articulate your own points clearly. If you can spot a straw man fallacy where someone misrepresents an argument to attack it easily, you can instantly bring the focus back.
That's powerful in any discussion.
It really is. So vocabulary isn't just extra fluff, it's strategic empowerment. A toolkit for every kind of communication.
Choosing the exact right word, not just a good word.
That precision makes all the difference.
Okay, so to wrap up the main insights, let's hit a crucial piece, often overlooked. Balance as the hidden skill.
Ah, yes. So important.
The sources talk about resilience over rigidness, and they state something pretty stark. Burnout is the enemy of brilliance.
That hits home for a lot of ambitious people.
It does. Why is balance framed as a skill here, not just, nice to have?
That's the key point. It's a skill because it needs conscious effort, practice, integration, just like learning anything else.
Okay.
The material is clear. Flexibility, rest, emotional intelligence. These aren't optional extras you fit in if you have time. They are core productivity skills.
More skills. How so?
Well, rest isn't just stopping. It's when your brain processes information, consolidates learning, generates ideas, restores itself.
Right, the background processing.
Exactly. And emotional intelligence helps you manage stress, build better connections, stay motivated, all directly impacting your work and well-being.
Makes sense. Any practical examples from the toolkit?
Yeah, things like digital detoxes, not punishment, but letting your brain reset from that constant input, like restarting your computer.
A mental reboot.
And downtime, maybe a walk in nature, a hobby, just quiet time isn't wasted time. It's fuel for creativity, for problem solving. It nourishes your innovative capacity.
So it keeps the brilliance burning steadily, not just flickering out.
That's the idea, sustainable brilliance.
So connecting this back to you, the listener, this flexibility as resilience means when things go sideways, and they always do,
Inevitably.
you can adapt without losing your way, getting overwhelmed, or burning out completely. It's bending, not breaking.
Pivoting without losing purpose.
Exactly. The sources say blending ambition with self-care. That leads not just to productivity now, but to longevity. You can sustain your drive, your impact, long-term.
It's the ultimate anti-fragility strategy for your life.
So let's bring this all together. What does this mean for you? This deep dive, it's not just about, say, learning English better or ticking more boxes faster.
Yeah, well, it's bigger than that.
It's about consciously building this holistic toolkit to master yourself and really thrive in today's world. It's about intentional growth.
Absolutely. And the parts all work together. They strengthen each other. Your time skills, they keep you grounded, focused.
Right.
Your networking skills expand your world, build trust. Your conversation fluency gives you confidence anywhere. Your vocabulary sharpens your thinking, your influence. And that commitment to balance, that sustains everything. It fuels your energy, prevents burnout.
It's a whole ecosystem for growth.
Exactly.
Okay, so here's a final thought for you to take away, something to chew on. Language isn't just communication, it's empowerment.
Deep empowerment.
And productivity isn't just efficiency, it's freedom.
Real freedom.
When you put them together, you create this path where you don't just survive challenges, you actually thrive with clarity, with confidence, and with a real sense of purpose.
Beautifully put.
So we encourage you to think, which part of this holistic toolkit feels most relevant to you right now? What's the first step you could take on your own path to mastery?